All right, I'm Rusty Hitt here with Olivia Adams here in our Get to Know You segment. And Olivia is a senior basketball player. And so, Olivia, what in basketball, tell us, what are you known for? What is your specialty on the team?
I'd have to say defense and leadership.
Okay.
I've been captain since I was a sophomore year. And I've also been nominated Defensive Player of the Year 2 years so far. So going pretty good, pretty strong.
Well, that's one thing Coach Claiborne talked about. He said you were the defensive stopper, that you would pretty well play against whoever the other team's best players. Talk about the pressure of doing that.
Oh, at first when I started basketball, I was really shy. I was really nervous. I was always skittish. It's different versus watching it and getting in front of it. Doing defense so close up, especially with someone that's so good, it can be a lot of pressure because you're expecting people to, or you're having people expect so much of you. So you have to be on your A game every second. You have to know exactly what you're going to go through, or I guess against. But it can be a little intimidating at times. But you just have to remember that they need you in that moment, and you just got to kind of break through that nervousness.
So when you're preparing, do you just rely on your effort and your defensive natural ability, or do you study your opponent? Do you watch huddle, those kind of things, and really watch what kind of moves and what the other player likes to do?
If I'm going to be honest, Coach does always tell us to watch huddle or videos of the people we're going against. However, I do not always do that.
Oh.
Sometimes I like to get a little bit of a surprise, or I already know what we've gone up against from the previous years.
Sure.
However, when I am preparing, I try to do my best to, like you said, observe. I'm a big watcher. I like seeing if they're better with their right hand, if they're better with their left hand, if they're better at shooting versus ball handling, It's you have to really know who you're going against, and I feel like paying attention to those little details, because say they do like one move, say they do in between the legs a lot versus, just a crossover, you can catch them in that moment and it'll mess them up just completely. And it's a very fun thing. I like to watch them do it because then they get frustrated and they get mad and it makes it a little bit easier on you. So I like the challenging.
Well, I think key in basketball, especially for defense, is effort. Somebody who's willing to go out and work harder than the other player. And that's one thing your coach said, you're the hardest worker on the team. He said he doesn't ever remember you losing a sprint, those kind of things. And that just really talks about a desire and a drive. What is it that drives you, that helps you want to give that kind of effort?
I think, ever since I was younger, I can always remember I was always competitive, and I never liked losing. I mean, I always knew, in order to win, you have to learn how to lose. And I feel like that's a big thing,
But you don't have to like it.
No, you don't. You don't. But I always have to remember that even though we do lose, there always is a next time. It's not just that one and done. We still have games before that and after that we have to remember, because it's important. You can't just do this game and you're like, oh, okay, we'll do it next. No, you have to be prepared. And I feel like effort, like you were saying, it's a big thing, because if you don't have effort, then there's no point. It's like trying to do something you hate. You don't like it. You're not going to do it as best as you can.
Yep.
So I feel like I always try to do the best I possibly can when I can.
So you mentioned leadership, and Coach talked about how you were a natural leader on the team. Is that leadership that did come naturally to you, or is that something that you had to work on?
I had to work on it. If I'm being completely honest, the first couple of years I was ever learning basketball in general, I was not much of a leader. I was more of a follower, but I think it's because I was very uncertain of what I wanted in general. Being a leader, you have to make sacrifices, but you also have to be very considerate, and you have to make compromises as well. You can't completely think about yourself, because that's not what a leader is for. A leader guides and makes decisions when no one else can. And I feel like that's very important when you're on a team with someone or with other people, especially if you don't like some of your teammates. You have to learn to get through that.
So, are you a vocal leader or are you a lead by example kind of person?
I try to do both.
Yep.
When it comes to like the other morning, we were doing weights. Well, not everybody was, participating in it completely, and that's okay, because sometimes we have our moments. But you have to say something, and I feel like sometimes if you don't say anything, you kind of just are like, it's almost like you're letting it happen.
Yep.
So I would say like, hey, come on, guys, like you got to keep it up, or like just keep trying. Like, don't just stop and not do it. That's not fair. But when it comes to like example, leading by example, I try to push as hard as I can. Or whenever we're doing our skills and we're doing, I'd say, rehearsing the play, we have to be very serious about that because that's how we win our games. And I feel like if I weren't able to take that seriously or be, I guess, immature during when we're learning those important plays for our games, it's kind of defeats the purpose of me being a leader.
Well, all right, let's go outside of basketball a little bit. What's your favorite subject? What do you like studying? What do you think you like to do in the future?
When I was younger, I used to really like reading, like Matilda read. I was really big on those books and the movie. However, as I started to get older, you get into the essays and the analytical, and I never really got into that. And as we got it older, but science, AP biology, chemistry, I love like all of that's just very interesting how so many different things can go into play.
You gonna look to do that in the future as you move along, or is that kind of a career-wise, or?
Kind of. I want to be a nurse,
Okay.
a registered nurse, but it takes a little bit to be a registered nurse, and you have to be able to think on your feet as well. And I'm hoping that with my leadership skills, that could also get me into a college or, something that has to deal with taking those decisions, because being a nurse, you take care of a lot of people, and that's something important. You
Yep.
can't make those decisions lightly. So I feel like if I can, I hope that one of those, I guess, characteristics comes into play for the future.
Very good. So, you have any specific plans for after high school yet?
I'm hoping to get a job soon.
Okay.
So that I can save some money. I'm not really sure about housing because you never know, you
Sure.
could get a full aid scholarship or you could stay with your parents or I could get my own
Yep.
place. But I feel like I just want to kind of go other places aside from Corsicana. Corsicana is very small. There's not very a lot going on, So, yeah.
Okay, well, very good, Olivia. It's so nice to meet you.
so nice to meet
Good luck
you.
to you and your team, and looking forward to a big season.
Oh, I hope we do amazing. I feel like we will.
Very good. Let's get to know you, Olivia Adams.